due to the Safer at Home order issued by Governor Cooper, members of the MWBE Citizen Advisory Committee are participating virtually. All members will vote by roll call. A member will be recognized, at which time the member will state his or her vote. But at this point, I'll turn it over to Jakira.
Good afternoon, everyone. So this meeting will be an information-only meeting due to a quorum not being present, but I will call the roll for the UWBE Citizens Advisory Committee meeting being held today, October 20th, 4:30. Chair Kelly Easton.
Here.
Committee member Cassandra Brunson. Committee member Drew Gertzmeyer.
Here.
Committee member Cornelius Graves. Committee member Jordan Gwynn.
Here.
Committee member Stephen Hemrick.
Here.
Committee member Leah Metz.
Here.
And committee member Ethel Witt. Okay. On this call, we also have city staff. We have the director of the Office of Business Inclusion and Advancement, Kim Millett, Alex Bohannon, Hannah Hernandez, the director of sanitation, Taisha Hinton, and Larry Bell with the marketing department. I'll turn it back over to you, Kelly.
Okay, so we do not, we're not going to go forward with an adoption of minutes because we do not have a quorum, but at this time we are gathered to pick up on part 2 of the policy review that Jakira has prepared for us. So we will, so I'll turn it back over to you, Jakira, to share the information. So we know that during our last meeting, we discussed construction. And so during this meeting, we will learn more about professional services and other services.
Okay. So this evening, like Kelly said, we're beginning with the sections that weren't discussed during the last meeting, and majority of these sections deal with professional, general, and other services. So in 2018, the city began requiring a 10% minimum MWBE participation goal to be set on all professional and general and other service projects. A proposer may meet this goal through the participation of Hub certified sub-consultants or through his or her own performance on the project. So if it is normal practice for the proposer to perform all aspects of the project without the use of sub-consultants, that firm may submit affidavit B. But if they are not a Hub certified firm, they will receive 0 points for the MWBE commitment. So utilizing WBE firm on service projects accounts for 20% of the evaluation criteria. And like I said before, beginning in 2018, September of 2018, all firms must be Hub certified at the time that the proposal is submitted.
Can everyone make sure, please?
So for service contracts, there is evaluation criteria. 20% of that is MWBE commitment. 20% is location of the business, and the remaining 60% is at the discretion of the department. But what I will add is that our division reviews that criteria and makes sure that it's not limiting for the pool of potential proposers. So there is a evaluation panel for service projects. The panel must be diverse in nature. The panel should consist of no less than 5 individuals. And the panel should consist of at least 1 staff from the MWBE, a staff member from a city department other than the originating department, and the remaining of the members can be selected at the discretion of the original.
Here, is that so these panels are the evaluation, or this evaluation panel, is it one panel that review all the proposals, or?
So no, I'm sorry, go ahead, Kelly.
No, go ahead, Karen.
So no, the panel, it differs depending upon the department in which they're advertising for the services. So the panel is different for each project.
Okay, and then is that information made public, and who sits on those panels?
Yes, it can be requested from the purchasing department.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So the next section is the good faith effort process for professional, general, and other services. 10% MWBE participation goal is not met, then the proposer can demonstrate their good faith efforts. Some examples of that is advertising in minority-focused media, using the city's MWBE office, providing quick pay agreements, identifying portions of the work to be performed by MWBE firms. And so the statute specify what efforts should be included in the good faith effort, but it is practice that the requirements of the good faith effort process are similar to those in the informal and formal construction repair good faith effort. A proposer must accumulate 55 out of 90 points to demonstrate a good faith effort was made. Next is the vendor database. The database is used to solicit bids for goods, services, and construction repair projects. It is accessible from the city's main webpage. When firms enroll in the vendor listing, it's a self-certifying vendor listing, so MWBE firms must indicate their MWBE status, their hub status, and they can also opt in to receive weekly emails from our division that include any upcoming events, local purchase opportunities, and any upcoming bidding opportunities. And so here recently, we removed the email addresses from being able to be accessed externally due to the high volume of spam emails that vendors were receiving. So that portion of it has been removed, but if particular GCs or prime consultants request that information, we can provide it.
Question for you, Jakira.
Yes, Leah.
When was that vendor database created, and then when was the last time that it had a systems upgrade?
They just performed a system upgrade. I want to say it was about 2 weeks ago. As an upgrade, as in the capabilities of the vendor database. Yeah, so there were some things done a couple of weeks ago. If there are, so I guess more or less, if it were something, I guess to your point, or maybe a question that you may have, is it something that the system could do to meet the needs of the general contractors and MWBE subs? Is that what you're?
I feel like that database is very construction heavy and maybe not all the way around and all goods and services. Like, it's very hard to determine what you would be as an MWBE. And so I'm curious if there's I guess a leveling out, or maybe some more of the coding that can be incorporated in there.
Hey,
Okay.
Taisha. Good afternoon, everyone. Leah, the vendor database that you all can view now was first created late 2017, early 2018. Prior to there being a system to what's in place right now, the city's vendor database was an Excel spreadsheet that there was an online form that vendors could go fill out information. There wasn't really any steps to anybody sign up, and the information had to be manually typed into an Excel spreadsheet. And so some of the difficulties we had with that was a department would download that spreadsheet and keep it saved on their computer. And so when new vendors were being added, they did not always go back to download the new spreadsheet. And then the other concern with the old database was that it had a lot of repetitive information. So for example, if you included your business and then your address change, there was the only way to remove information was for someone to manually remove it. So the data in that spreadsheet just wasn't helpful. On top of that, there wasn't a stopgap in place to confirm if somebody was an MBE right now, it goes to Jakira's office and they confirm that person's hub status before it's published. Whereas in the past, anybody could indicate that they were an MWBE. To your other question about being construction heavy, it's based off the information that vendors submit. The commodities that are in there encompass everything: construction services, professional services, and general services.
Right, I get that there's a lot of vendors in there that are construction. I just feel like the database is set up to definitely help the construction side of things. But then when you go to look for somebody like myself, like it's hard for me to even find myself in there as somebody who does consultant work. So yeah, I get that it's construction heavy, but the way that the base of it is set up.
Right, and I think that's possibly something that we can improve on. I will say that that the codes that are used in there are the state's NESCET codes. So that is what firms see and what they select when they select codes that or services that their firm provides, as well as for goods and commodities.
Thank you.
So next is the local vendor requirements. So local vendors are defined as any business with a physical address within the corporate limits of Winston-Salem. PO boxes do not qualify. And for city, county, joint departments, local vendors who have businesses within Forsyth County also are considered local. So for all discretionary spending under $20,000, local vendors must be used if available, and all local MWBE vendors must be given the opportunity to submit a bid or proposal. Under $20,000 must be given to the lowest responsible bidder, taking into consideration quality, performance, and time. And this is all specified by the North Carolina General Statute. So for goods and professional and other service contracts that are below $20,000 and are fairly routine, the city manager may reserve those contracts to be awarded to qualified MWBE firms on a rotating basis. And in order to determine which firms should be, or if the project or service should have a rotating vendor list, there must be 3 MWBE that are available and able to perform the work as a prime contractor. and whether the anticipated frequency of the contract have opportunities that warrant multiple awards on a rotating basis, and if the MWBE vendor is located within city limits. So next is post-award compliance. So if the prime consultant does not meet the established goal or their contractual goal, and they fail to demonstrate a good faith effort, the consultant will receive a deduction or adjustment for noncompliance in the evaluation of proposal/bid submitted subsequent. And that is at the discretion of the city manager. The MWBE replacement form must be approved prior to a MWBE firm being replaced. So this requires prime consultants to follow, there's a list of instructions that they have to submit some documentation saying that they actually tried to negotiate things out with the MWBE firms and that they could not come to an agreement. That form is then submitted to our office and we have to approve the form before anyone can be replaced. The successful bidder will be required to submit MWBE documentation for contract payments with each monthly invoice. And the final affidavit of payments paid to MWBE subcontractors shall be approved prior to the last final payment being released. So basically with this process, once you receive a final affidavit of payment, we go through and we make sure that each MWBE subcontractor was actually paid the amount that it states on the affidavit. Next is the WBE program records and monitoring. So the city/county purchasing office maintain data on MWBE participation, including the prime and subcontractor data. The annual report is prepared by my division, and it is submitted to the city manager, which he reports that information to city council. The city-county purchasing office also maintains a copies of all plans and specifications. This is recently something that we encourage all MW to utilize the purchasing office to either look up historical bid information or actually access the plans and specifications. Next is dispute resolution. So our office expects that all parties involved in the procurement process, including cities, they act in good faith in all aspects of the procurement process. If affected parties are unable to resolve the dispute, the offended party should report his or her concerns to the applicable department for the project. If any MWBE subcontractors or prime contractors are involved in the complaint, then the department should notify our office immediately. And that is the end of my presentation, and that concludes the rest of the MWBE program policy that we did not review in the last meeting. So I'll turn it back over to you, Kelly.
Okay, thank you. And but I remember when I came on board receiving the report, that annual report that you said that the city manager shares. Mm-hmm. Actually, I thought Taisha prepared that report. I could be wrong, but is there one for 2019? I know there's something going on.
I'm currently preparing the report for the 1920. And when it is completed, I can share that with you all. But all of the previous years, they are on the city's webpage. And that will send a link to you all to review as well.
Does anyone else have any other questions or comments? All right, so I'm going to round robin. just to get your input. If you don't have anything to share, you can share that too. But Leah, I guess what are just kind of some of your thoughts?
Well, question on the data that's being collected on the MWBE and the contractors and the primes. How is that? What system is that being collected in? And is that per some of the recommendations from the study that was done?
Correct. Currently, we manage the projects and reports through Microsoft Excel. We don't have a software that houses that information for us. So it's all done manually.
Okay.
I guess, and to that point, is there a well, I'm sure there's a budget for, for this work. But I just did a quick search based off of Leah's question for some other vendor databases. Particularly, I looked at Charlotte's, and I really like the way that it's set up, and it's very user friendly, and it just seems like a really good resource, for not only primes, but anyone who's looking to, to support MWBE. Stephen, do you have any thoughts?
Sorry, I was fishing for the button, kept missing. I don't think I really got anything to add. I mean, especially given that everybody's not here to really get the back and forth going. My only thought is just kind of on the good faith side is, there's a lot less opportunity to do it, but to do the same type of reviews that we do for the construction projects, since there are goals for these. But, that's something I think we can discuss once we have a full committee. And, I think that kind of gets into the ordinance. So it's a kind of big picture issue, I think. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, thank you. Drew, do you have anything?
Sorry, I've just been looking through the database. Yeah, it's interesting and helpful. I also agree that reviewer getting, and that does, I don't know, want to repeat what Stephen just said, but it gets way broader, but that looking at that portion of it through professional services more could be helpful as well too. But I'm trying to put the pieces together to understand even where that is now, because I guess we don't see any of that part.
And I will add to that, Drew. So for services, the way that the evaluation process works, and I would say the having so there aren't as many good faith efforts that are submitted for construction and repair. So since I've been with the city within this past year, there were 2 good faith efforts that were submitted for service projects. So I just want to make you all, not to say that, that's not something that the committee couldn't be involved in. I just want to make you all aware that that is something that I haven't seen a lot of for services.
Sure, there's not hundreds coming through or anything. Yeah, I see.
Yeah. Jordan, did you have anything to contribute?
I don't know that I have anything major, but I would say just from being on the committee for a bit now, I do recall reviewing part of the process for selection of the vendor to perform the assessment that was done for this committee. Jakira brought, or it might have been Taisha back then, but she brought the information around the vendors they were considering using, and then ultimately the selection. So it seems like a well-established process in terms of determining professional services within the city.
Yeah, thank you, Jordan. I do remember. Yeah, that was Taisha going over that process. I think it was like right before the disparity. Okay, well, I think, did I miss anyone? I think that's all of us. So, all right, well, I guess we will, so you will send this meeting out, this recording out to the rest of the committee members, Shakira, is that what you said, or just even an email? I know it's online, so people should be able to find it on YouTube. And then when we get back together, then we can have a greater discussion. And then it's also my understanding that you're preparing, all the different notes and feedback to share with us. I don't know if you want to just share, where you are with that process.
Yes. When the committee gets together during hopefully the next regular meeting, and if not, we can definitely schedule a special meeting. But after the discussion about the services portion and what we reviewed today, I will construct a list and provide that list to the committee so they may review the list and make sure that their thoughts and recommendations are clearly described as I provide them to you all. And then from there, staff will review the list and bring to you all the next steps based upon what you recommend and what we can and cannot implement.
Okay, thank you. And then with that, once that list is compiled, again, if if the staff could work on noting what could be done immediately, intermediate, and then what's more of a long term, then that would be helpful.
Definitely.
All right, does anyone else have anything to share? Okay, all right, so I guess we will pick back up next month. And so you'll send a link out for a special meeting. We're gonna have 2 meetings for November. Am I hearing that correct?
Well, it depends if the next regular meeting's agenda isn't, if it allows for us to review and discuss, then we can. But if there are good faith efforts in which time does not allow, then we would have to schedule a special meeting.
Okay, sounds good. Well, we appreciate you, Jakira, and I appreciate everyone for joining this evening, and we will reconvene next month.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
Good night.
Good night.